So, after studying the various components of the systematics, now let us understand what is the aim of the systematics. Okay, in the systematic category, this will be the last topic, and after studying the aim of the systematics, we will go for the different topics which are comes under the systematics. Okay, which is given in your UPSC mains examination syllabus. Okay, so in this particular video lecture, we are going to understand what are the aims of the systematics. As you know, we have studied the various components of the systematics. That is, the first one is called as the identification, then the second one the description, then the third one we have to classify the plants, then the fourth one we should go for the nomenclature as well. So all these components making the systematics a very strong study area in which we even study the evolutionary lineage of every organism, right? So what is the aim of these systematic studies? Okay, well, there are various aims which are tried to complete by these systematic studies. We will focus on these aims now. Okay, now understand this. This is your we are studying the paper 1 and the chapter number 3, that is the Phanerogams, under which you have to study the gymnosperms as well as the angiosperms, and we are here at the systematics. Okay, now understand, see, the activities of the plant systematics are basics to all other biological sciences, right? Whatever the activities we are dealing with the plant systematics, these activities are also provided to the all other biological sciences. That is, the under the zoology or the microbiology, we use the very similar techniques of the systematics, just then we call them as the animal systematic, right? But here we are dealing with the plant systematics, but whatever the methods we are following here in the under the plant systematics, these are all common to the other biological sciences as well. Okay, and in turn it depends on same for any other additional information that might prove useful in constituting the classification. Okay, so basic criteria is that the basic criteria whenever we study the morphology, anatomy, and we take out all the exact characteristic from the living organism, and on the basis of this we will use these characteristic feature to create the plant systematic study for this particular taxon. Okay, that is to constructing a classification system, right? Now understand this, to provide the very first aim of the systematic is to provide the convenient method for the identification and the communication. Okay, so what is systematic doing here? They were providing you a method. What is they providing you? They were providing you a method to identify the plant material and to have the better communication with that unknown species. So if there is an unknown species, we recently find out we cannot communicate with this species because this particular species does not have classification or the name. Then in such a case, we should use the methods of the systematics to identify this plant and to betterly communicate, to have the communication with these particular around these particular species which are newly found. Okay, so what is the first aim of the classification is it is providing the methods to identify for the identification and the communication. A workable classification having the taxa arranged in the hierarchy and the detailed diagnostic description is essential for the identification, and all these things, that is the description, detailed description, diagnosis, hierarchy, all these things were provided by the systematics. Okay, so whatever the systematic studies are there, these are systematic studies giving us the methods, proper methods, that's to how to identify the plant, how to classify the plant, and how to name the plant for the better communication. So this is the first aim of the systematic. Consider, let's elaborate this. Properly identified and arranged herbarium specimen, dichotomous key, then the polyclaves and the computer aided the identification are the important aids of the identification. See, identification aids is the different topic which we have to deal with in our next video lectures. That these aids which help in the identification of the plants are of different kinds. For example, the herbarium specimen can be used, dichotomous keys can be used, polyclaves can be used, or the computer and the other important aids can be used to identify the plants. Okay, all these features, that is a dichotomous key, what is dichotomous key, what is polyclave, what is computer based identification, all those things we are going to study in the nomenclature. Okay, that is the IUCN, that is the botanical whatever the botanical nomenclature process is there, we are going to study it in detail. At that time you will understand all these concepts. Okay, so once properly identified the arranged herbarium and the dichotomous key and the polyclave and the computer based identification, we can use all these to identify the plant species or to name the plant species. And who is providing this all facility? This is provided by the systematic studies. Okay, the plant systematic study gives us the herbarium, the dichotomous key, the polyclaves, and the computer based identification to aid in the identification. Then the codes, then like the ICBN, then the written documented through the efforts of the AIPT, which is called as the International Association of the Plant Taxonomy, helps in deciding the single correct name acceptable for the whole botanical community. So all these things, see, ICBN, whether it is ICBN, AIPT, or these organizations are all working under the plant systematics. Okay, and due to this we will have the very common name for all the other organisms. Sorry, one common name for the one particular taxon. Okay, so this one particular name for the one particular taxon is coming from the systematics, and due to this one name, we can now share this species with the whole botanical community without any confusion. For example, if the one species in the India have the one name and that same species in the America has the another name, then the confusion can be created between the taxonomist of the America and the taxonomist of the India, right? But due to the ICBNI or the AIPT like organization which works for the systematics, they were giving the common international name, and due to this common international name, it is useful for the whole botanical community throughout the world. There will not be any confusion between the names. Okay, and who is providing all this? It is provided by the plant systematics. Okay, now consider the second aim of this plant systematics is to provide, just a minute. Now, the second aim is to provide the inventory of the world's flora. See, whatever the world's flora is there, that literally means whatever the plants which are found in the North America, South America, Africa, India, Asia, Australia, right? Everywhere in the world, when we find the plant, the whole inventory of this world's flora, okay, whatever the world flora is there, that is the all plant material which is present in the world, which got identified. This flora's inventory is provided by the systematic studies. Okay, so the angiospermic systematics is also providing the inventory of the world flora. Although the single word flora is difficult to come by, the floristic records of the continents, regions, countries, and the states, or even the countries, are well documented. See, even though we do not have one single book. Now, see, understand this. We do not have single book. That literally means if the flora of the North America and the South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, all these plants were taken to the single book. This is not the easy task, but we can do it by using the computers now. Okay, but till before the computers, it was not possible to assemble all kinds of the plants into the single book. But still, what we have the floras of the continents. For example, the North American continent flora is there, Indian subcontinent flora is there, right? African flora is there, European flora is there, even the regions. Okay, for example, if you are in the Assam region, the Assam flora is there. Okay, if you are in the Punjab region, the Punjab flora is there. Whatever the Punjab taxonomists are there, they have created the Punjab flora in order to give you clear-cut idea that which kinds of the plants were found in the Punjab region or which kind of the plants were found in the Assam region. Okay, so the state-wise or the region-wise floras were also available there. Then the country-wise flora were also there. For example, the Indian flora is there for its plants. Then the American flora is also there for its plants. Okay, then for example, then the Australian flora of a plant is also there. So country-wise flora were also documented. Okay, so the continents flora, the regional flora, countries flora, states flora, all floras are there. So if you want to study the plants which belongs to the Uttar Pradesh, then you can consider taking the flora of the Uttar Pradesh, because then you will definitely find the plant which are present in the Uttar Pradesh in that particular book. Okay, so the floras, whatever the floras were created here, these floras were created out of the plant systematic studies, and these flora now providing the very basic literature to the young researchers. Okay, for example, you are going for the research, and under this particular research product, you have to study one particular plant. Then you definitely have to start with the flora. Okay, for example, your guide tells you that you have to study all the plants. You have to study the plants which are present in the central India region. Then you should first go for the flora of the central India. Once you study the flora of the central India, you will come to know that which kind of the species you are going to find out there. Okay, and which type of species, where to find it. That is for this also these flora were used. For example, if you are in the Uttar Pradesh and you know the name of the plant, but you don't know where to find this particular plant, you just know that it is found in the Uttar Pradesh. So you can take the flora of the UP and you can find out the exact position of the plant, because nowadays the GPS records were also there. Okay, so you will know definitely where to find this particular plant. So flora is providing the very basic platform for the researchers, the young researchers. Okay, and from where this flora is coming, this flora is coming from the plant systematic studies. Okay, now consider, in addition, the world monographs for the selected genera and the families were also available. Okay, so world monograph like thing is also there. They were giving the selected genera and the families. Okay, if you know the plant which belongs to these genera or the families, then the world monographs were also useful. Okay, now understand this. To the third aim of this systematic is to detect the evolution at work, to reconstruct the evolutionary history of the plant kingdom. Now see, once you study the systematic, you will come to know that which kind of plants were creating the new branches at which time in the evolution, right? Just like we have studied the pteridophyte, gymnosperm, that some pteridophytes were extinct, the major three orders of the gymnosperms were extinct, but their fossil record were still found out by our researchers, right? So through this, we can create the evolutionary tree out of this. So the evolutionary history of the plant can be created by using the plant systematic studies. Okay, for example, the plant kingdom, the whole history of the plant kingdom can be created out of the plant systematic studies, determining the sequence of the evolutionary change and the character modification. That how the evolutionary change has occurred over a period of time, it can be understand, and how the characters were got modified in the plant. Right, that too can get modified. That too can be studied. Just like in the some of the gymnosperm, fossil gymnosperm, we know that there were the bisporangiate cones, right? Bisporangiate cones were there, but now we find only the monosporangiate cone, right? So how this change has occurred, how this modification has occurred, that too can be studied by using the systematics. Okay, so the third aim of the systematic is to create the good evolutionary tree, the exact evolutionary tree, and how the evolutionary changes has occurred and how the character modification has occurred so far, right? See, the fourth the fourth type of the aim which is given which is of the systematics is to provide the system of classification which depicts the evolution within the group. Okay, whatever the evolution has occurred, through this evolution the classification system is also provided by the systematic studies. So the systematic studies aims this to provide the classification system. Okay, the very particular kind of classification system to create this classification system, the systematic also aims it. Okay, and due to which the phylogenetic relationship between the groups is commonly depicted with the help of the phylogram. Okay, consider this is a phylogram, and the top species is there, then there are the branches. Okay, different kinds of branches were there, right? Wherein the longest branch represents the more advanced group. Okay, whenever there is a longest branch, it will give you the more advanced group, while the shorter and the nearer were present at the where the primitive ones. Okay, these are considered as the primitive ones. And if there is a longer branch, it will showcase the most advanced group, and if it is a shorter branch and at the base level the organisms were present, then it is considered as a primitive group. So creation of the phylogram out of the phylogenetic relationship, it is also the aim of the systematic. Okay, the systematic is used to create the phylogenetic tree, to create the phylogram, and through this phylogram we can understand which plants are the more advanced plant and which plants are the less advanced plants. Okay, now you see, in addition, the groups are represented by the balloons as well. Okay, not only the phylograms. In the phylogram, what we do, we give the lines, okay, like this. But not only the lines, the balloons can be created like this. Okay, see the balloons, the different types of the balloons were here, and of the different size proportional to the number of species to the respective group. So for example, if you are creating the balloon diagram for the any particular plant, say for example for the plant kingdom, okay, then the balloon of the angiosperm will always be bigger, okay, as compared to the gymnosperm, because gymnosperm will have the smaller balloons. Okay, because the number of species are less in the gymnosperm, but the number of species are very high in the angiosperm. So in this way we can create the various balloon systems for the angiosperms as well, and such a phylogram is popularly called as the bubble diagram. So you can create the bubble diagram for the plant kingdom according to the number of species which are present in that particular group. So if the any particular group has the maximum more number of species, large number of species, the balloon will be the bigger one. And in comparison to that, if the others particular plant group has the less species, the balloon will be of the shorter size or the smaller size. Okay, so this type of the phylogram in the form of balloon is called as the bubble diagram. You should carefully understand this word, because UPSC has this habit to ask you the simple terms sometimes, such as the bubble diagram. Okay, so bubble diagram is that diagram in which we create the bubble according to the number of species possessed by that particular group. Now see, the phylogenetic relationship could also be presented in the form of phylogenetic tree, where existing species reach at the top. Okay, so phylogenetic tree can be created from the common ancestor, for example like this, and the phylogenetic tree is going like this. Earlier we have the organism like this, we are showing the organism like this through the various branches, and whatever today's flora is there, it will come at the top. Okay, so in this way the phylogenetic tree can be created, bubble diagram can be created, phylogram can be created. So all this phylogram, bubble diagram, and the phylogenetic tree are the aims of the systematics, because systematic studies are giving this phylogram or the bubble diagram or the phylogenetic trees. Okay, now consider the fifth one, to provide the integration of all the available information. Right, see, for example, in the America, they have found out the one plant and they have described that particular plant. Okay, the plant is. Then in India, we have find out the another kind of plant, and we have described that plant, and which is called as the plant B. But sometimes in the future, we have find the A plant again, which was already found out in the America. Okay, and we will try, and we are trying to describe this plant again. So this confusion should not be occur there. We should have the one common source of the information. We should know that such a species is already reported from the America, and this American taxonomist has already described such a kind of species. Okay, so that is why the integration of all available information should be there. Okay, this information should be there of all whatever the information of all the plants is there, it should be placed at the one place. Okay, so that everyone in the world should come to know that which kind of species were already described. Okay, to gather the information from all the field studies, analyzing the information using the statistical procedures with the help of computers. Okay, so what angiospermic or the plant systematics is doing, they are taking the information from all possible resources, and they were analyzing this information using the computers. Okay, and they were taking information to the one place, providing the synthesis of this information and developing classification based on the overall similarity. See, now once we have all the information at one place by using the computers, we can now easily classify the plants on the basis of overall similarity, because now we know the flora of the America, now we know the flora of India. Now we can compare these flora, we can know the similar species present in both the countries and the different species which are not present in one country but present in the other country. Okay, so this is also the aim of the systematic, is to provide the one common source of the information in the form of computers. Okay, now this synthesis is unending, of course. Whatever the synthesis we are going to create through the computers, it is unending. Why? Because the new information is constantly pouring into the system. Okay, whatever the new information is there, it is constantly coming from all the other sources, and this new information constantly we have to add it into our computer systems. So this synthesis of the information is unending. Since the scientific progress is continue, right, new information will continue to pour and pose new challenges to the taxonomist. So we cannot stop here. Once we gather all the information, what is the next challenge? The next challenge, the whatever the information will come in the future. In the future, the more and more new species will got identified, and these new species will possess the new names. These new name species will contain the different types of chemicals. So all this type of information will continuously come, and we should synthesize them at a very, very proper place in the computers. Okay, so this process is very unending. Okay, it will not end in the near future. See, the sixth aim of the systematic is to provide the information reference, supplying the methodology for the information storage, retrieval, exchange, and the utilization. So once we have all the information with us, this all information can be used for the storage purpose, for the retrieval purpose, for the exchange purpose, or for the utilization purpose, to provide the significantly valuable information concerning the endangered species as well, then the unique elements, genetic and the ecological diversity as well. So from this information, what you can calculate is the endangered species. Whatever the endangered species are there, whatever the unique elements are there, whatever the genetic diversity is there, or whatever the ecological diversity is there, all these things can be studied once you find the common source of the material at one place. Okay, to provide the next, the seventh aim of the systematic is to provide the new concepts. Okay, that is to reinterpret the old and develop the new procedures. Okay, whatever the old procedures were there, now we have to create the new concept to analyze to reinterpret the old information. Okay, because as you know, the more digital age is coming, and by using the computers or by using the smartphones, we can alter the various techniques which are used by the ancient taxonomists. Okay, sorry, the whatever the earlier taxonomists were there, these are earlier taxonomists were using the old methods, but now we can use the new concept to reinterpret the data, whatever the data we have with us. Okay, so the correct determination of the taxonomic affinities in terms of the phylogeny and phonetics can be determined. Okay, so the whatever the plant systematic studies are there, they were also giving us the new systematic studies. Okay, so new concept they were providing, right? See, the eighth one, which is also the aim of the systematic, is to provide the integrated database of the including all the species of the plants. Okay, whatever the plants material is there, we should provide the inclusive database. Okay, all the plants should be placed in the one database, and these plant material where place once in the database, it should be available for all over the globe. Okay, that is the person from the India, the person from the Iran, then the person from the Sri Lanka should easily access this information once we have the common database there. Okay, so the several big organizations have come together to establish the online searchable database for the plant kingdom as well. Okay, so we are taking the help of new technology now, and we are creating the whole new databases for the plant studies. Okay, so where the names, then the images, descriptions, synonyms, and the molecular information is stored, so that everyone can access it from the every possible place from the world. Okay, in the world wherever you are, you can access this database, and you should know whatever the plant composition in the America or in the India or in the Iran. Okay, so this is also the aim of the systematics. So this is all about this topic. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. Please like this video, share this video with your friends who are studying the botany, and if you haven't subscribed to the Botany channel yet, please subscribe to the Botany channel for UPSC examination. Again, thank you very much for giving your time. See you in the next video lecture. Thank you.